Hello and welcome to Round the Table, the slow TV radio podcast from the meeting point in Bilbao. My name's Richard.
And I'm Ursula.
Hello to all our friends and listeners, not only in Bilbao but throughout the world.
So, what have we got in today's program?
Well, coming up today we have part 4 of the fascinating series of Learn These Words. We also have some typical mistakes that have been occurring rather frequently this week. We also have what's the difference, and then we'll be discussing the topic of prestige. And I might include in that an amazing fact, which I'm sure you're looking forward to.
Yeah, can't wait.
Okay, let's begin with Learn These Words. Here is a selection of fruit, and you might like to make a comparison between the sizes. If you listen to the word comparison, you'll see that the second syllable is stressed. The second syllable is much bigger, like the apple. Those 4 pieces of fruit represent the 4 syllables in comparison. You'll see the first syllable, the pear, is very small. The third and fourth are kind of medium size, but the second one is the big one. Comparison. Comparison. In reality, society has an infinity of diversity and a variety of ethnicity in its community identity. In reality, society has an infinity of diversity and a variety of ethnicity in its community identity. You see where the stress is in all of these words. The most commonly mispronounced words are society and variety. You'll see the I there is stressed, but when you've got a ETY or ITY on the end, it's always the syllable before that takes the stress. In reality, society has an infinity of diversity and a variety of ethnicity in its community identity. Notice. Not ice, but notice. This is a notice board where you pin notices. But not ice. When you're ordering a drink in a bar, you might say, not ice, thank you very much. Notice. This is a bear with long, fair hair. A bear with long, fair hair. So this word bear, a very difficult one for people to pronounce. If you just remember this image of the bear with long, fair hair. Bear, fair, hair. They all have the same pronunciation. Bear, fair, hair. This man has got a weird beard. Weird beard. Weird beard. Don't forget to pronounce the D on the end of beard, otherwise you'll get confused with the next one. Beers. Here are 2 beers with ears. So if you remember ear, when you say the word beer, just remember the image of beers with ears, then you'll get that pronunciation correct. Beers with ears. And finally, a bear and a bird and a man with a beard drinking a beer. Bear, bird, beard, beer. Bear, bird, beard, beer. A bear and a bird and a man with a beard drinking a beer. And that is the end of Learn These Words. And now it's time to look at some typical mistakes. And the typical mistakes for this week, here's a very unusual one. People say, that sounds well, and that smells well. And it shouldn't be. It should be good, which seems to break all the rules.
Yeah.
Because normally, if you have a verb, you would have an adverb to go with it. Yeah? But for some reason, in English, I don't know why we do it, but we only use the adjective with verbs which are to do with senses and perception.
Yeah.
So you say, that looks good.
Yeah.
That smells good. When you walk into the kitchen,
Yeah.
when you come home and you walk into the kitchen and say, something smells good.
Yeah.
Or bad.
No, it's always good.
Always smells good, yes.
Well, apart from cauliflower.
Yeah, that smells bad, yes. And you say, that tastes good, rather than well. Okay?
Yeah.
Sounds good, smells good, tastes good, looks good, feels good.
Feels good, yeah.
Yeah, that feels good. Occasionally you could use well with you look well. Not the same as you look good. You would say you look good. There's a difference. This is like a what's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, like you look fit or in a good
Health.
health.
You're talking health, yeah.
Health,
you look well, yeah. But if you said you look good, it's because you've put some clothes on that are, you've got some
Suits
new.
you.
Yeah, it's like that suits you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, if someone comes out the changing room, you're in the shop and someone's goes to try on the new dress.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, you look good." In that case, you wouldn't say you look well.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen someone for a long time and they look healthy, you'd say you look well. Yeah, but normally all those verbs of senses, perception, we tend to use good instead of well. It's an unusual one, isn't it?
Interesting, yeah.
So another mistake, now this is another very favourite mistake. When people use the phrase all the time, this adverbial phrase all the time,
Oh, yeah.
it means the same as always, right?
Yeah.
Always, all the time. They mean the same thing, but they appear in different places in the sentence. So, for example, if you say, we are speaking, right? You would say, we are always speaking,
Yeah.
or we are speaking all the time. But don't put all the time in the middle. Everybody here says we are all the time speaking.
Yeah, because it's a translation.
Yeah, and I'm always correcting it.
Yeah.
I'm not all the time correcting it.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
always...
correcting it all the time.
That is correct, yes. So all the time has to go at the end of the sentence. That's the best place for it. It doesn't split the sentence, whereas always, being an adverb of frequency, can go in the middle.
Do you use one more than the other? Do you use always?
I use
more?
always.
Yeah.
A lot more, yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason, people here don't like the word always. They like all the time.
Yeah.
And they always put it in the wrong place.
Yeah.
One more typical mistake then. What about this one? An student, a lot of people say, when I was an student, or it's an stupid idea.
Yeah. Well, that's because they say, when I was a student.
This is correct, yes. Because here you don't have words that begin with st, sp, sn, sm, etc. People tend to put a little e in front of those words. They don't say smoking, they say smoking.
Yeah.
They don't say school, they say school. So they overcorrect, and instead of saying a student, they say an a student.
Yeah.
Because they put that little e at the beginning. So if you come from a country with a language where they don't have words that begin st, sn, sm, etc., you might get in the habit of putting a little e there. If you go to Sri Lanka, previously known as Ceylon, they also don't have words that begin in st and sp and things like that.
Okay.
And they put a little e at the beginning as well. Yeah.
Okay. So it's easier for us.
So they would probably make the same mistake of putting an a student like that.
Change a bit the stress as well, doesn't it? Makes like an extra syllable in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's rather complicated, yeah.
Very good.
Okay, so that's your typical mistakes for this week. And next on the list, we have what's the difference? So today's what's the difference? These came up in the conversation this week. We've got a what's the difference? A group of 4 very similar things. So wait, expect, wish, and hope. They're all kind of similar in their usages, aren't they? Right, so let's do the first two, wait and expect. What do you think is the difference between wait and expect?
Well, expect is related to expectations, I guess. Not something that you think is gonna be in a way, and that's your expectations.
Yeah, so something that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You expect it to happen if you think it will happen, yes?
Yeah, and wait, well, you just physically wait for the bus or for someone to arrive.
So you're just passing time.
Passing time,
until something happens.
Yes.
So you're waiting for the bus. Yes. But you will expect the bus to arrive.
Yes.
Because you think it will arrive.
Yes.
Yeah? So, yes, that's the difference between wait and expect. Now, these other two that get very confusing is wish and hope.
That's more complicated to explain, I think.
Yeah. I think we should do hope first and then wish. Hope is something you want to happen. Yeah.
You want to happen, not you think it's going to happen. Is there a difference between expect and hope?
Yeah. Yeah. Expect, you think it will happen, and hope is what you want to happen. So there's a difference between I expect to pass the exam because I've done lots of homework and I've studied hard, so I expect to pass the exam.
Yeah.
I hope to pass the exam is what I want.
Yeah, and you're not sure.
Yeah, but we always want to pass exams.
Yes.
Yeah, so we hope to. But wish is different to hope, because wish is used for an unreal situation. And I'll give you 2 sentences to illustrate this. Now, if I was going to have a party, right, and I invite you to the party, I could say, I hope you can come to my party. Okay, it's something I want to happen, and there's a possibility of you coming to the party. If I say I wish you could come to the party, it's still what I want to happen, but I know it's not going to happen.
I see.
If I say I'm having a party and you say, oh, I won't be around next weekend, I'm going to be in Madrid for the weekend, I say, oh, I wish you could come to the party. And that's why there's difference between I hope you can with can and I wish you could with could.
Yeah. That's like first conditional and second conditional, isn't it?
It's the same principle. It's the same
Okay.
principle. The can is
I
changing
see.
to could to show the unreal situation.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're a really interesting group of words. So we've got wait, expect, hope, and wish.
Very good. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's good that, isn't it? So the next thing to do is to discuss the topic of the week, which is prestige. So earlier on we were discussing this on the way to the market, and we were discussing the difference between prestige, social status, respect, and also authority.
Yeah.
And there's a whole group of words which are very interconnected. And can you have one without the other?
Well, I guess you can, but it's not very good. I mean, like, now you mentioned the king, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has social status,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. But not always respect.
No, it's easy to lose respect, isn't it? So, talking of social status and aristocrats, that reminds me of an interesting fact. Would you like to hear an interesting fact?
Yes, please.
Yes. Do you know they say that aristocratic people have blue blood?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why that is?
Well, I guess it's because they didn't work and they had like very white skin, and you can see the veins, and they
Yes.
look blue.
If you're looking at your arm, just as we saw it is right now,
Yes.
looking at your arm,
And it looks like I have blue blood as well.
it does look like that, yes. And people who worked out in the fields tended to be browner, so
Yeah,
it didn't look so blue.
yeah.
Yes, of course. Do you think they really have blue blood?
Well, no.
No, they don't. They have red blood just the same as everyone else. But here's the interesting fact. Octopuses have blue blood.
Really?
Yes, and so do lobsters. I read somewhere that lobsters have blue blood, and I wouldn't be surprised if crabs have blue blood as well. So-
But lobster are blue, whereas crabs are more red. Aren't they?
They are, well, they're a bit brown, aren't they? Yeah, lobsters are quite blue in the wild, aren't they?
Yeah.
They go a bit pink when they're cooked.
Yeah.
Yes, like Englishmen do.
Okay, what about
But anyway-
octopus?
Anyway, the octopuses, yeah, the reason is, I've got it here, there's a copper-rich protein that they have to transport oxygen around the blood. Okay, so it's more efficient than hemoglobin. It's called hemocyanin, and it's more efficient than hemoglobin, which is iron-based. So in human blood, we have iron-based protein, which makes
yeah.
it red. Mm-hmm. And in octopuses, if that is the plural, I think it is,
Okay.
yeah, they have a copper-rich protein.
But is it
And that's
because
why it's
they
blue.
is it because they live in cold water?
Yes, it's to do with being in very cold water at the depths of the ocean. Yes, and it just functions better. Yes, and they're very strange things. Octopuses or octopodes or octopi. I think we've agreed that octopuses is the correct plural now. And they split off in evolutionary terms. They separated millions and millions of years ago. And they're very, very different to land animals. They have 3 hearts,
Wow.
which would be quite useful.
If
Yeah.
one stops.
Well, yeah, you've got another 2 spare ones, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's very, very useful having
Maybe
3
because-
hearts. Yeah, imagine Valentine's Day if you're an octopus. Yeah, so that's my interesting fact to do with octopuses.
very good, very good.
Blue-blooded people don't have blue blood, and if they do have blue blood, they must be
Dead.
they're either dead or they're octopuses, yes, or lobsters. That's my interesting fact.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's quite all right. It's a pleasure.
And talking about teachers, for example,
Yeah.
are maybe when I was a child, they had more prestige.
Yeah.
Teachers, yeah. Nowadays, they are not respected at all, I think. And I think,
By parents as well as pupils.
yeah, I think it's more parents start, and then
Yeah.
people realize that, oh,
Yeah.
because children learn what they see at home. So
Yeah. I think they've generally got a bad name in society. Not for any misbehaviour, I just don't think they don't have that social standing that they used to have in the past.
but I think it's coming from very strict to very
Liberal.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there must be something in between.
Yeah. I think it's because the general public don't think there's any particular skill involved or any talent. They always say in England, they say, those who can do, those who can't teach.
Really,
Something like that is the phrase, yeah.
really.
So it's people that they're not really successful at anything else, so they become teachers,
yeah,
which is
well,
a bit
maybe,
of a negative attitude, isn't it?
yeah, and maybe that's why in the northern countries they are well respected and they have much prestige, isn't it?
And they're much better paid as well.
Yeah.
In Finland, they're very highly paid.
But
And
in
so-
fact, all the schools are state school, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. In
They don't
Finland,
have
they are, yeah.
private education.
No. But the fact that they're highly paid jobs, it means then more people want to be teachers. So then they can choose the very best of all
Yeah.
the thousands of applicants.
Yeah,
They can choose the very best, which means teachers are much better qualified, which raises their status in society even more.
yeah.
And it's a snowball effect, isn't
It's
it?
like doctors, really. They should be in the same level, really. Doctors and teachers, because they are
Well-
very important in society, aren't they?
They are. And even if you think about it, you could argue the fact that teachers are more important because teachers are forming the people.
Yeah,
They're building the character of
Yeah.
those people that will later be members of society in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas doctors tend to be working with people at the end.
yeah, that's the
Not always, I know, but quite often when people
Yeah.
are sick, they tend to be older
yeah,
and
yeah,
they've lived most of their lives.
yeah.
Whereas, the teachers are the investment for the future, aren't
They
they?
are, yeah. That is very important. And you always remember your good teachers, don't you?
You do, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I've got particularly fond memories of a couple of very good teachers when I was young. Yeah,
I think I was lucky too with
Yeah,
some of my
yeah.
teachers. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really,
Yeah.
because it's important to have good teachers.
yeah. The other thing we were talking about was the most important people in society that we noticed during lockdown. We were talking about the lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah,
And how we realised the importance of certain people, and they were all quite lowly paid jobs. Like, we really appreciated the fact that people kept the supermarkets open,
yeah,
and the fact that there were lorry drivers moving food around and things like that. And I remember seeing something on TV about, not during the pandemic, but something about the street cleaners in New York. And they were very badly paid at one time, and they decided to go on strike, and they said, we want more money. And the authority said, you're just street cleaners, you're not anything special, you're not important. So they went on strike, and the strike didn't last very long, because New York, there's a lot of people, and it very quickly filled up with rubbish.
Yeah.
And within a week, you couldn't walk down the street. There was so much rubbish. So then they managed to get a really good pay deal, and they're well respected, and they have the American flag on their sleeve.
Really?
Well, like everyone in America who works for the government. You got to have a flag, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I think all jobs they should have, their own, I don't know, respect, or because you need, all bits in society to make
Well,
it
yeah.
work. Like
That's
you
right.
need cleaners, you need policemen, you need
The bin men, the lorry drivers. The more qualified you are, the more highly paid you are. But it doesn't mean that you're more necessary. Like, it doesn't always go, does it? Like, footballers are not really necessary, are they? They're the highly paid ones.
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, if you go to the really high paid people, are probably not that necessary. The sports people, the musicians, the actors, for them to be at that peak, I mean, of so much money.
Yeah, but I think it's because it doesn't work like that. The payment is not related to your contribution to society.
Yeah. So the other thing we were talking about was the role models, and when people become famous, whether they have a duty to be role models and set an example to younger people.
Yeah.
Because people often complain about the behaviour of, I don't know, musicians, singers or sports people, usually footballers, as if they're supposed to be setting an example for everybody. But they don't really go into the job with that in mind, do they? They want to play football, don't they?
Yeah, but that's the way it is, though, I
Yeah.
think. Because when they were children, probably they look up at someone. And
Yeah.
so I know that's not their job, but...
No. But a lot of it, when they set a bad example, it's not really them setting the example. That is their behaviour. They might behave in a bad way.
Yeah.
But how do the public know about it?
Yeah,
Through the media.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then if the media get hold of a photograph or a piece of film of someone famous being really drunk, misbehaving, they'll put it in all the newspapers, they'll show it on TV dozens of times, and they make sure that everybody's seen it.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's the media that are really
showing
it to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't know if this pop star is drunk in a hotel without the media telling us all about it.
Yeah.
So I think the media have more responsibility, and they really enjoy the fact that people misbehave, because I guess it sells papers or makes their boring television program more interesting.
Yeah.
Gives them something to talk about, doesn't it?
Yeah. The problem for me is more the politicians that behave like children in a playground instead of being like setting an example.
Well, I think there are people in society whose job it is to make rules for everyone else to obey. And those are the people that should be obeying the rules, especially if they write the rules.
Yeah.
Having parties in Downing Street and all that kind of stuff during the COVID lockdown was very bad. And also the people that invent the tax system, and they know the ways of not paying the taxes. So they're telling us what we have to pay while they put all their money in an offshore bank account.
Yeah.
That's particularly annoying. Yeah.
So
I think if politicians and those people that are high up in society there with their social status, I think they've got an obligation to behave. But I don't think footballers really have an obligation. Well, within reason, obviously. There's been some really serious cases of activities, they should go to prison.
Yeah.
But then anyone doing those things should go to prison. There's nothing to do with whether they're footballers or whether they're famous or not.
Yeah, but for example, getting drunk, well, like, that shouldn't be in the news because...
No, it's what you do when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Or 30s.
Yeah.
Or 40s. Or 50s. Some people just continue. But particularly when you're young, that's what lots of people do.
Well, I guess it's very difficult, for example, for a like super rock star being so popular in an early age where you have lots of people around you. It's very difficult to handle that situation unless you've got someone close to you, like helping you with to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's It's very because
To keep your feet on the ground.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's very difficult to let it go to your head. He says, using all his favourite phrases.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a very interesting topic this week. Prestige, social status, respect, and all that kind of thing. Then the topic for next week is homes and homelessness. This is going to be very interesting, I'm sure. So that's all we have time for this week. Don't forget to join us next week. I should have said at the beginning all about liking and subscribing and sharing it with your friends. I forgot to put that message in right at the beginning. So it'll have to go in at the end, won't it?
Yes.
Anyway, so that's all we have time for this week. So have a good week till next week.